Hi, welcome back to Holler Mom. I'm Colette. I'm a stay-at-home mom of 4 kiddos. If you're new here, my oldest has left my coop. Yes, I am obsessed with chickens. And I still have 3 teenagers at home. I have a husband that is a race car driver. My son is also a race car driver. And I actually do have 2 channels here on YouTube. I have Holler Mom, which is all things mom and how I deal with daily living with a traumatic brain injury. And then our family channel is called Holler Life, and that documents vlog style our family's racing adventures. My husband races on dirt. He has raced over 20 years. My son is racing again this year. This will be his, I think, 3rd year. He is 18. I grew up in a racing family. My dad raced for over 40 years. My little brother races now. He's raced for well over 20 years. Drove a race car, before I ever drove a street car. And both of my dad's brothers, my uncles, raced throughout the years. I myself worked for a go-kart track for 16 years doing scoring, worked with the WKA a little bit, but if you're interested in all that stuff, just go check out my other channel, which is always linked in the description box down below. So today I am taking part of a cookbook challenge with a bunch of ladies here on YouTube. The challenge was to make a dinner recipe out of a cookbook. They said you could use any cookbook you wanted, and I chose one of my favorite cookbooks. It's a family cookbook, so I will make sure I will type out the recipe down in the description box. Funny little story about this cookbook and this recipe, which I don't think I said it, but I am making what is called 15-minute Mexican chicken and rice wraps. I had to look at the real name. We just call it we call it Mexican chicken and rice. So whole family, like my grandmother and her sisters and aunt, like all her cousins, like big huge family. Like I think my great grandparents had something like 19 kids. Big family. Everyone contributed recipes to this cookbook. So I made this recipe a few times, and we really liked it. And, you know, it became like a staple. When my kids were younger, it was a good thing on a night there was practice because they could eat it in the car on the way there. But this recipe says it was contributed by my Aunt Linda. My Aunt Linda's not a big cook. And so I made this recipe a few times, and I was like, when I saw her, she lives out of state. She was home for Christmas or something, and I was like, oh, Aunt Linda, that recipe is so good. And she's like, oh, yeah, that's her favorite. Later down the road, I said to my grandma, she said something about dinner, and I was like, oh, I'm making Aunt Linda's recipe for the chicken and rice wraps. And she's like, you really think your aunt has ever made that? She's like, I think she cut it out of a magazine and handed me the recipe. I don't think she ever made it. She contributed it. So I don't know where this recipe originally came from. I'm going to guess maybe it's from the Taco Bell brand, like the things you buy in the store, because it mentions Taco Bell twice in the recipe. So, like I said, I will make sure I will type this out in the description box down below. There will also be a link to all of these other ladies on YouTube that are putting up videos. I can't wait to see them. I'm in a cooking rut. Like, we're getting now where some nights it's just me and my husband at home, or, you know, typically me and my husband and our 14-year-old. I'm having to learn to cook in smaller batches. It's a struggle. I like to cook for crowds. At camp, it's standard rule, you eat, or I'm going to chase you with a spatula, because we put on a spread for everybody. We camp at a racetrack. So I'm going to show you guys this cookbook and the recipe, and then we will go from there. Okay, so here is the front of the cookbook, and you can tell this is a very, I just lost my page again, a very well-loved cookbook. And, no, let's see. Like I said, very well-loved cookbook. So here is the actual recipe. The 15-minute Mexican chicken in rice wraps, contributed by Linda, granddaughter of James. So, there's the recipe if you guys want to take a screenshot, but it will be down in the description box down below. So here are my ingredients. No, the strawberries and the lettuce and the grapes are not part of it. They just stay out on the counter because they get eaten faster. So I have some olive oil, some chicken breasts, some water, some salsa, some taco seasoning. It calls for a packet, but I have some homemade taco seasoning, so I have that measured out ready to go. I have a cup of rice. That was 2 cups of water. And then it calls for tortillas. It calls for cheddar cheese, but lack of planning on my part, we only have mozzarella. That's okay. We will eat it. And we like to have sour cream on it. How I like to eat this, my family eats it on tortillas. I like to eat it on, I'll just put it in a bowl with the cheese and the sour cream because I try to stay low carb. But, so now I have my cast iron skillet heating up over here, and we are going to get some oil in there so it heats up and get this chicken cut up. Okay, my skillet is nice and hot, so I'm going to go ahead and pour in about a tablespoon or so of olive oil, maybe a little more. I eyeball things a lot. I think most of us eyeball things a lot. Okay, so I just went and got an apron on so we don't get gunk all over myself. I heard someone on YouTube once, Kimmy from She's in Her Apron. She, diehard Kimmy fan here. She was the first channel I ever found on YouTube, and I quickly became addicted. But she said, I think it's something like an apron is like mom's superhero cape. Love that. Okay, so now I'm going to get this chicken cut up. I know some people get grossed out by chicken. I'm not one of those people. So I'm just going to cut it up in some bite-sized pieces. Like, I don't put a lot of thought into this. I mean, you could use like the tenderloins and cut those up. Like, I'll cut this fatty stuff off. I just really, I'm more about speed, and my family is not picky. So we're just going to go ahead and get this diced up. I'm no Julia Child over here. Just get it done. Get it done. Okay, hopefully you guys can see, but I am just going to, my stove's a little unlevel, so I'm just going to swish that oil around. Get this liquid in here. Need to get a spatula. This is actually the first time I'm making this in this cast iron skillet. I just recently got this skillet from Walmart. Is a Pioneer woman, and I literally think I've cooked in it every day since. I've had it for about 2 weeks now. So we are just going to let this brown up. I'm trying to see that a little. Something super comical. I've made this recipe for at least 15 years. I just realized I apparently never read the recipe all the way through. Yeah. So, the recipe says, number 1, you're supposed to cook this in strips. Number 2, you're supposed to do add the water, the salsa, the rice, and the taco seasoning to another pan and cook it separately, and then combine it. I guess I'm just going to show you guys the way I've always done it. Apparently when you're a frazzled mom with 3 kids within 28 months, you don't need recipes all the way through. Like, I'm legit, guys. I apparently never read the recipe right. So this is how I've always done this for the last 15 years. I'm sure the results are the same, and it's going to taste the same. So whichever way you want to do it, whatever works for you. But I guess we're going to do it the way I do it. So I've got all my stuff over here. Usually I will add my taco seasoning. Stir that up a bit. Get the chicken all nice and coated. The chicken's cooked. It's not like browning or anything. Because if I let it go that far, I'm going to burn it. So we're going to get the chicken all coated up. And then we're going to have the water. And then we're going to add the cup of rice. And it says a cup. That's what I've always thought is a cup. And I honestly don't think I've ever measured it. I just dump it in there. We might as well just put it all in there, because we don't really eat salsa other than this in the house. And we save the glass jar. But I can put a candle or some tallow. I could put something in it. Now we're going to stir this all up. I don't think cooking videos are for me. This is like the first one I've ever done. I hope y'all are getting some comic relief out of this. So we're going to stir this up. My stove is on level. We are going to stir this all up. Ooh, and we're going to make a mess. I'm going to turn the heat up to medium high. I'm going to let it come to a boil. Get this water up to a boil. And then I'm going to turn it down and let it simmer. And I'm going to clean up this giant mess I just made on the stove. So I knew something didn't seem quite right. Sorry, I just don't want to move my tripod. It's supposed to be 2 cups of rice. So let's add another one. These are the struggles of having a TBI. Oh, we're just going to throw that in there. Okay. Let that come back up to a boil, and then I will turn it down to a simmer. I'm going to turn that down to kind of like the higher side of low. Does that make sense? Like low, but almost medium. Maybe a little more low. We're going to let this simmer. The recipe says 5 minutes, but I usually let it go until all the liquid is absorbed. I got a talking hand like Jammerel. We're going to let it go until it's all absorbed. Okay. So, this is just about done. You can see it's all, the liquid is all absorbed. I am going to go ahead and call my son in. We are actually having this for lunch today while we homeschool.
I was about to say it doesn't look like I do chicken and rice because it doesn't have common sauce in it.
Oh, and I use the homemade taco seasoning at the store-bought. Get your spoon.
It's not thin, it's strong. Think this not too much?
I don't know. You can have them like just for you and
No.
I.
Like too much to roll it.
I don't know. Is it too much for you to roll it?
Is it too much for you to roll it?
I didn't know I was rolling it.
Well, you're not. That would be nice.
Okay, I am just going to have mine in a bowl with some cheese and some sour cream to cut down on the carbs. And like I said, this is lunch for me and my son. They're actually, it would probably be 2, maybe 3 days worth of lunch for us. Got some allergy season. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed my adventure in trying to make a cooking video. Whether or not there'll be more is yet to be seen. My son is being loud. But don't forget, down in the description box there will be a link for the collab list for all the other ladies making videos. Make sure you go check them out. Thanks for watching. If you like the mom content, make sure that you're subscribed. Don't forget about my other channel if you want to check that out. It's linked below. And leave me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this adventure. Hopefully we'll see you again. Thanks. Bye.